welcome to Sllk Stretch, a unique boxing podcast brought to you exclusively by Ace Podcast Nation. My name is Ben Doughty.
Hello, my name is Michael Olajide Jr., the Sllk.
Hello, I'm Gary.
Brilliant. We should keep that intro. That's why I think we haven't blown up yet. You know, people say this.
I love Mike so much. He's just the best.
Gary slays me.
We say, you know, I don't understand why this podcast hasn't blown up already. I think it may be because we haven't got that kind of.
I just want to do a show with Michael and just listen to him. He's just a
No, stop. Gary's delivery is hilarious. He can deadpan better than anybody. I'm telling you, this is good. You're good.
Oh, thank you.
So, gentlemen, there was a very big weekend of boxing, the Easter weekend of boxing. He's still Gary. You've got these two kind of circles in your eyes.
They're called glasses.
It's my light. No, I got circles in my eyes, Ben. It's because I'm looking at you, baby.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know how to get rid of them. Is it distracting to the viewers?
I think they're pupils. Okay, there you go. Yeah, almost.
It is a little bit. Yeah.
Let me move the light. Okay, go on. You continue with the podcast.
So in any case, so while he's sorting out the visuals, he's the fucking Hollywood actor as well. You think he'd have that kind of thing down by now. But there's a very big weekend of boxing action this Easter weekend. It actually starts, you know, in Glendale, Arizona tonight with Oscar Valdez fights Liam Wilson for the, I believe it's the interim WBO super featherweight title. Who gives a damn about that? Yeah. But that is the first fight that kicks things off. And then tomorrow you've got Tim Tszyu versus Sebastian Fundora at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, and a decent little scrap on the undercard too when the Isaac Pitbull Cruz faces Rolando Romero.
Yeah, I like that fight.
Okay. Do you know something? I ain't going to go full screen because this is all new, by the way, because I'm just doing a computer this time. We need comments, don't we? So, salute, guys. That's from Bruce. Bruce Gas Boxing. Okay.
What's up, Bruce? Welcome to Sllk Stretch.
Okay. So, did sorting out the circles in your kind of spectacles, does that involve making a cup of tea and maybe putting some jerk chicken on the slow cooker, or is it a more cursory operation?
I have to unplug.
All right, Gary, just you know how it is on the show.
The couch is talking to us.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't necessarily want to talk about the Oscar Valdez one unless you want to, because I didn't preview on that one. We didn't set it up as part of what we're going to discuss on this show. So should we shoot forward initially to Las Vegas tomorrow night?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so Tim Tszyu was supposed to fight Keith Thurman. This is, on the business side, the interesting aspect is this is PBC's debut card. This is Al Heyman's Amazon Prime debut, and I think Ellen K. Brompton, who's just jumped on right now, tells me they're charging $70 for the show in the
oh wow
States, yeah. Al Heyman. People said that his relationship with Showtime was moribund and was going to collapse. That's why I went looking for.
Showtime's no longer into boxing, are they?
Exactly. Showtime have basically. Yeah, basically, Showtime folded essentially. Yeah.
They can't compete. It's so hard to compete with pay-per-view these days, and fighters get more money from it, and you know what I mean. It's just no way that they could carry that bill anymore. And
the streaming platforms, I mean, obviously the streaming platforms is the new thing, with the Zone and TNT Sports and and all the rest of it. But so it was supposed to be Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman for the kind of Heyman's debut on Amazon Prime pay-per-view. Thurman got injured. Thurman hasn't fought since the last Ace Age in any case. I don't know what's been going on with his career or his personal situation. So in steps the incredibly tall Sebastian Fundora. I mean, you see from the picture that I framed the show with it, it was a real Mutt and Jeff matchup. But I don't see too many people picking Sebastian Fundora. I don't know what your thoughts are, first of all, Sllk.
Well, I'm thinking, all the people that talk about reach being such an advantage, this kid definitely has a reach advantage over Tszyu. And how much is that going to help him? Go ahead, tell me.
Nobody expected to help him, certainly not, because everybody thinks Tszyu is the more solid fighter. What they say about him too, by the way, fellas, is that he doesn't use his height and reach. Some people say he could be a force and a menace if he knew how to use his reach and height.
What's his record, Ben?
Fundora,
Mm-hmm.
he has 20-odd wins and the one loss.
Who beat him?
Huh?
Who beat him?
The name's
I
obviously.
forget who, but he wasn't a well-known guy, but he knocked him out.
I'll tell you who it was. He was definitely an outsider. He hit him with a beautiful counter left hook, right, Sllk? I think you made mention of it. You said, I've always said that was the way you should do it. I will tell you who beat him in 1 second, all right? Keep talking amongst yourselves. Try and hold it.
I want to know who beat him. This is an interesting... I'm going to be the devil's advocate tonight because maybe we can educate, maybe not educate, our viewers are very educated, but maybe we can break down how to pick a winner and a loser. I'll be the devil's advocate and I'll ask you questions, Ben, like this. When did he lose? Who beat him? How long ago?
Okay. So he lost.
It seems like it was like a year and a half ago, was it?
Listen to this, though. Check this out, guys. He lost to Brian Mendoza by 7th round KO. I remember it was a beautiful, sweet counter left hook. Yeah. That was back in 2023, 8th of April it was. Now, here's the thing. You're coming off a loss and you're boxing for 2 versions of world titles tomorrow night in Las Vegas. You're coming off... I know he's not the first person. I know Pepino Cuevas, was coming off a loss when he won the WBA Welterweight Championship. I'm not saying it's never happened, but these days it seems more common. They are fighting for Tszyu's WBO Welterweight Championship and the vacant WBC Championship. He's just jumped into that. To be fair, he's a late substitute, so there's a degree of mitigation there.
Yeah, he's a substitute, and he has a following. Obviously, he has a certain amount of exposure. The fact that he's 6'6" or whatever, and the other kids, 5'10", 5'9".
Not even, man. Not even. I mean, just Tim Tszyu is pretty short. I'll find out for you. This is the advantage of being on the MacBook Air. I can use my phone to check some things. I could pretend that I'm not, checking the phone. Of course, that might be a more smart way of presenting ourselves. But Tszyu, his height is 5'8.5". So you were pretty close, Sllk. Yeah. He hasn't fought for nearly a year, Gary, and he's coming off a KO loss. That is Fundora, what he's bringing to the table in his immediately recent past.
It just brings the attention to, again, the circus of boxing. It's like, I mean, there's 2 things you can take out of it. For the contenders, when you obviously are waiting for a title fight and you see there's a title fight being made that doesn't involve you, I think it's so important that they get in shape, because when things happen, there's an opportunity that pops up and you can get a shot when you're not expecting it if you're ready, or someone who's ready or and just takes that opportunity can change their life, Sure. But it's very difficult for fighters to be in shape all year round. But it just shows that there is it's unfair in boxing that someone get a shot coming off a loss, and probably a much better contender who really deserves a shot is sitting out.
Has he not avenged the loss, but has he won since that loss, Ben?
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. He's coming off a loss. That was his last fight a year ago, last April.
Oh man,
so that's a very good choice. Again, it's a promoter's dream. Bring someone in, it's an easy job.
Yeah.
It's sad because that's the current state of boxing. But it is difficult for fighters to stay in shape all the time. But surely, if the fight gets called off, maybe they went out to the number 1, number 2, but they weren't ready. But I don't know. But it's a sad state of affairs when you get the people like these guys like Herbovich and all these people are number 1. They're waiting for title fights, and then someone who's coming off a loss as a 40-year
jumps ahead of him. Yeah, there has to be a number 1 and number 2 contender. You're right.
It's an opportunity to fight for 2 belts. And
what's it, Ben?
It never works that way.
No, it doesn't, and that's boxing.
What I feel as well, I feel sometimes you're still, some ways, instinctively thinking of your own era, particularly in your division, when things were a lot more ordered and there was a degree of sanity, at least back then. And I think sometimes you reflexively apply that logic to the absolute chaos that we have today. That's not a criticism, by the way. I'm just saying, no doubt, if I were you, I would probably do the same. But do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's chaos out there. So sometimes you'll talk about contenders or the challenger, and I'm like, no, you know, the silly thing is this guy isn't even the champion. He was the challenger, and he was upgraded to the full champ last month, and it's fucking chaos out there. Seriously, to the point where you can see why journals like Boxing News make decisions like they do to not acknowledge titles anymore and just to tell you about the fights. And
Well,
tell
you know what it is, like people talk about it's entertainment now. It's not as much, it's fighting entertainment not as much as it is like a fighter's fight game anymore. It's not the fight game, it's entertainment. And so entertainment takes precedence. That takes, you know, that they push that first instead of pushing the fight first. Like Fundora has a name, he has a name value, has some marquee. So Thurman pulled out, and you put this kid in, and it makes sense because, you know, for Tszyu, you need to have a name as well because, yeah, he has his dad's name, but I don't think he's really been exposed to the public the way.
Not the American public or the British public, no.
No,
Doubt he's huge in Australia, I'm quite certain. But
yeah, and he would be. And once you say his name, oh, this is Kashi's son, and he looks so much like him and all the rest of that kind of stuff. He's got an undefeated record, all the KOs. Yeah, of course. I'd want to see him fight. So who is he going to fight? Well, he's going to be fighting this 6'6", 154-pound, you know, kid who's only lost once. That's what they're going to say. He only lost once, 6'6". He's an anomaly. And you know what I mean? So people are like, oh, okay. This is like Ringham Brothers, Barnum and Bailey circus. It isn't necessarily like two of the most deserving guys getting that time. It's, you know, two people that are attractive. They have name value, or they have some sort of, like, if you look at them, they have some sort of entertainment value going on.
Yeah, I know that his physicality is a part of that. You can sell a story to the casual fan by looking at the difference in height in the face-off, right, Gary?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if they had a bit of a shake-up in the game and they said, okay, boys, let's do it the right way. We're going to get the number one fight the number two, or the champion fight the number one. And when they announce the fight, let's say 10 weeks out or whatever time they have, they say, okay, number two, if you don't have a date, get ready. If something happens, you're in. And, you know, and then we could have a very orderly, fair game. But right now, like you say, it's not about the titles, or it's not about the who is deserving. It often comes down to who will sell the tickets if this doesn't work. You know.
So we're talking about the peripheral circumstances and the politics of the game. We're not talking about the fighters yet. Is that because we see it as a foregone conclusion, a Tim Tszyu victory without much fuss?
Well, anything can happen, but it looks very much in favour of Tszyu, doesn't it?
I think so.
I understand. Like Bruce is saying Heyman had to save the card, which is absolutely true. And he was available. And my point being, if you've been waiting for a title fight forever and there's a title fight coming up and you are the number one, I think it would be in your best interest to get in shape and hope something goes wrong and jump in, because opportunities don't come up so often, especially in the mad circus day and age that we're in, for the real guys to fight for the titles. It's the business is taking over. The real guys are getting put on the sidelines. So the only way you can counter that is get in shape. But you know what? Maybe Heyman wouldn't take the number one if he was ready, because it's a too dangerous fight. You don't know the underbelly of the politics either. Maybe
somebody who's number one, somebody who's a number one contender is always going to want, unless they know they're fighting a guy like a very weak champion, they're always going to want to be fully prepared, and they're not going to risk, you know, jumping in early and losing to somebody very talented. They would risk it if it was somebody that they think has marginal talent and sort of like not a very strong champion. But other than that, I think they'll wait their time. It would only make sense. I would want 2 to 3 months of getting ready for a world title fight.
Let me ask you this, Sllk. Do you think, based on the scope of the Fury Usyk fight, do you think a heavyweight out there is prepping in case something goes wrong right now?
Do I think? Sorry.
Do you think right now, we all know that it was quite a long war, like the Usyk Fury fight is a date set. Do you believe there'll be a heavyweight out there now prepping on the off chance something goes wrong, he'll jump in? Do you think someone's out there thinking, you know what, get ready.
Absolutely. I think they have to, because the promoters always want to save the card. They've put enough money. They'll say they've already spent so much money to get the card ready and up and ready to go. They always have the backup. They absolutely do. They have to. That's your insurance.
Well, they didn't have it last time.
I've got this guy, Joe, keeps coming on. Here's one for Sllk. I'm not Sllk, but I'll answer your question. He said Iron Barkley got 2 title shots in a row after Duran. Iron Barkley isn't an average fighter, and getting beat to Duran isn't a bad loss. And before, when he talked about losing to Ali, these are different level fighters getting shots, not someone they just pull in coming off a loss to a nobody.
Sure, but it should be one. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. One could argue.
No, but if you're a champion and you lose to Muhammad Ali, you're very qualified to go and jump into another title fight.
Well, look at exactly what just happened with Anthony Joshua and Ngannou. He lost a decision to Fury, and then they put him in the ring with Anthony Joshua, right? And I know it wasn't for a title, but
no, but neither Fury nor Joshua have anything to do with winning, losing. It's just business. It's just 2 big names, like Jake Paul fighting Nick Diaz. It's nothing to do with record or that's just high profile, big money selling tickets. But when you're talking about these things that Joe's coming out with, saying Foreman lost to this guy, or he lost to Ali and he still gets a shot, or this guy lost to Duran, these are world champions with resumes who are overqualified to get shots. So it's a very different situation. The fight we're talking at hand, the opponent for Tszyu lost to someone I've never heard of, and as it fought barely a year, it's a very different scenario.
So let's talk about the fight, because we're not going to sort out the problem of boxing. Don't get me started on the ills of boxing and the nonsense and the logistics of it, because we'll be here all month and beyond. But I've got Tszyu, certainly. I think he'll stop him at some point in the halfway stage.
Is this for the? This is for our little.
It is, but only there's a new rule I've just thought of now. You're only eligible. Your predictions are only eligible if you put your fucking face in the middle of the screen instead of half on and half out, like Live and Let Die. And the black geezer on the front of the
Is that good?
Just keep an eye on that, Sllk. I know. All right, so I know it doesn't count.
Keep an eye. It's not easy, right?
It's
easy for you. You have 4. I only have 1.
Yeah. Well, we've got 8 between us, and you're coming with 1, and you're still winning some weeks.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going with Tszyu. That's not much of a reach. Fundora, I actually looked at him, and he's got a lot of heart. He's tough, all the rest of that kind of stuff. So many things can happen in boxing, but the obvious is, how could you choose against Tszyu? It's just impossible. Height does not, it doesn't register with me like that. And reach doesn't either. So if it came down to skill versus skill, Tszyu is much more skilled. He hits hard enough. He's confident. He's strong. And he takes a great shot too, right? He's resilient.
He's not fighting at home, sorry, but he's the house fighter.
So, Gary, what do you think?
I honestly don't know that much about the opponent. But by all, if I'm a betting man, it's going to be like, the red corner, whatever. Zoo's going to win it.
No, I think you should actually try. Fundora would be a good bet, right?
Yeah, because someone's got to go for Fundora. We can't all go. No, do what you want, Gary. Don't let him control you.
Yeah, I'll tell you before the end of the show.
Yeah,
I'm going to do a little bit of homework.
He's going to figure this out in the interim.
I'm doing a bit of research right now.
Interim. It's today's landscape. Although, okay, guys, on the same bill is Rolly Romero versus Isaac Pitbull Cruz. It's quite an attractive pairing for the WBA like welterweight title. A nice charismatic little matchup on the face of it.
Yeah. I like that fight more than I like the main event.
There you go. So,
yeah, no, it's great. And this fight's being held on the undercard, and wow. I'm really impressed with. Rolly's rolling. This is his first fight back since his last loss, right?
Who are we talking about?
Romero.
No, Rolly. He won that fight, but he was just considered to be unimpressive. He won controversial 9th round stoppage against Ismael Barroso.
That one, yes.
And everybody was saying, "What the hell is Tony weeks on?" You know.
Yeah, that didn't make much sense at all.
Okay.
I don't know. I have to. Pitbull, I really like Pitbull Cruz. I like the way he's strong, he's fast, he hits hard.
Yeah.
I look at it as he could run into something, but you don't bet on those kinds of odds. You know what I mean? So I really have to go. I really do have to go with Pitbull. He's stronger, faster, throws crisper, tight shots. Again, they both can throw wide shots, and they're both there to be hit. But I believe that Pitbull has a tight enough defense. He moves his head. Technically on the inside, he's really strong. As long as he doesn't leave his head, you never know what could happen. I mean, Rolly can punch, and you know what I mean? And he's going to come out and he's going to be agitated the first few rounds until he catches some fire. And Pitbull is the kind of guy, he comes in head first and he's like, wow, let's do it right in the spot right here. I think he has to be aware of that. I think he has to pay he has to pay attention to that, not get caught early, but it's not going to stop him from doing what he has to do. I'm going with Pitbull early, within 3.
Okay. Interesting. I'm going to go the other way. I think you're right about Cruz. His style, he's very aggressive. He's got the high guard and the low stance. He's a bit of a devotee. You know, he's certainly a believer in your ethos that the jab is not necessarily the most important punch, depending on what your style and your game is. I mean, he leads with hooks. He's very aggressive. He's a good puncher. His defense is that aggressive kind of fighter who rolls and stays low. But I think Romero can box. He has got flair. He has got talent. Romero tried to do a bit of a Mayweather thing, right? With that shoulder roll defense. He's got pretty good hand speed. He's got a wide stance. I think it might be a controversial decision in favor of Romero, who I feel I'm not suggesting there's a hugely bigger commercial animal in this one, but if there is a bigger commercial animal, I think it's Romero. And I think if it goes 12 rounds, he may get home. So I'm going to stick my neck out at the risk of going even further behind the both of you. And no, it's not even that. It's just your insufferable gloating whenever you get anything even vaguely right. That's what I really detest. But even so, there's a temptation to hedge my bets and just say the same as you, and we fall together if we fall at all. But no, he's the betting favourite, Pitbull Cruz. He is the betting favourite. I noticed when I looked earlier. Mm-hmm. But I just got a gut feeling for Romero, and that's where I'm going. Gary,
I'll let you know at the end of the show.
Oh my God! Wait, first of all, what's a gut feeling? Where does that come from, and why is this a gut feeling? Is there kind of like, is it like a defeatist mentality, or is it like a conqueror's mentality we're talking about here when you say you have this?
Have you never heard the expression gut feeling? One's instincts tell you something is in the offing and is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, but those are really based on negativity, right?
Not at all. No, not at all. A gut feeling can be you're going to win the fucking lottery tomorrow. You can have a gut. It doesn't.
It's a spiritual
inclination.
It's a feeling that comes out of nowhere, or it comes out of much thought about something, and then, like for example, you could be thinking this horse is going to win, and then you just see this other horse walk by and you say, you know what, I've got feeling that fucker's going to win. So it's just an instinctual thing that sometimes overrides your thought process. It's more of a physical feeling, like my gut.
It's not exclusive to negativity, is it, Gary?
No, my head and my education thinks this, but my spirit thinks the other. So,
but is it your spirit, or is it just the fact that your nature is to second guess yourself? Like you think about, okay, well,
that's different. When you second guess, that's more thought.
I fancy Romero to win tomorrow.
Spirit says it. Like when you second guess, you can talk yourself into second guessing. A gut feeling is just more of an instinctual feeling without thinking so much. So it's more of a physical feeling than a head feeling.
Listen, they both lost to Gervonta Davis, right? Cruz has a draw and a loss from his earlier career as well in 2016 and 2017. But at top level, they both have lost to the one guy, Gervonta Tank Davis. So
and if that were to be a measure, this kid Pitbull did a whole lot better. I mean, that fight with Davis was a great fight.
Sure, well, I don't.
A lot of skill, a lot of resiliency, a lot of power. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever taken Davis that deep.
Okay, but I don't need to remind you about the whole triangle theory and the bogus nature of them, though. So, like I say, I hear what you're saying.
What do you mean, bogus nature of what?
I'll tell you what. I'm looking at this.
One second. You know what I mean? It's just because that guy, like George Foreman and annihilating Fraser and Norton, who gave Ali 17 Shades of Hell, and then Ali beats Foreman. That's a triangle theory, right? That's obvious. So I don't need to remind you of that principle.
Yeah, and you think that the attributes that Pitbull has were enough to offset Davis?
Do you know what? I never saw that fight. I didn't watch it.
So, you didn't watch it? Oh, okay. Well,
but I saw.
Let me tell you, if you saw the fight between Pitbull and Tank, you would see that this kid is more than what you think he is. He's not just he's not a numbskull fighter. He has a way of executing and sharp. Like he's very much like a minimized Mike Tyson, like a smaller Mike Tyson. Did
you see his fight with Giovanni Cabrera, which was I believe it was his last fight? That was on the undercard of Spence Crawford. And he was taking a decision. Yeah?
Yeah. I did see it. I did see parts of it.
And that guy was long like Romero, and gave him all kind of trouble.
Yeah, it did. I mean, who knows?
That's more recent than the Tank fight. That's my logic. That feeds into my logic as well. So,
well, it's kind of like when fighters are when fighters like Pitbull fight. Sometimes they just aren't connected. Like it doesn't mean as much. I don't know what it is. It's just sometimes they just go into another headspace, and I think like I don't know. There's just something about this kid that I think when people were going to start vacating and moving around, I thought he was going to take over. I really thought he was, but he didn't get busy. You know what I mean? How long ago was that fight? Now he's had one fight since Tank, hasn't done anything else since. But I don't know. Maybe he was injured. Maybe he was. I don't know what it is. But I do believe that he's going to come back for some reason. I think it's just my nature is just telling me. Like he has.
I hear that. Yours is a solid pick, and you may well be right. I have a sneaking feeling for Romero in a controversial close fight tomorrow. Gary, what are you going to let us know a week on Sunday? Yeah.
He's reading right now, or he's sleeping. Yeah. Stretch.
Ground control.
Is maybe his screen is. Maybe he fell asleep listening to me.
It might have done.
Can you knock on the window?
Frozen, his screen might be frozen.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think it is because it was kind of quite James Dean-esque, wasn't it? The way he just ignores us and looks down at the floor, Harry, and there's just no. Look, he's coming back. I'm going to have to get rid of him on the other one then, because 1 second, I need to get rid of him on this one. Ban from studio. No, kick from studio. Oh, he's gone. Now we get him here. Watch this. Right, Gary?
There we go.
I had a brief technical issue, I guess.
Oh, we thought you were sleeping, so it's okay.
I was listening to you too. I was going to fall asleep. But...
Yeah.
I told you I was rambling. Sorry, my bad. Unusual.
So I'm going to go with the tall man against Tszyu.
Okay, so Fundora, he's on Fundora. So
it's so big. If he loses, he should never fight again.
But Gary, what do you think his advantages are? Just because he's tall, you think like he can't get hit on
back to the other discussion, the other prediction. He's just because we've already gone to the other fight. He just said he'd tell us his pick, and that's what it is. We don't jump back into the other discussion when someone comes with a leg pick.
It's a gut feeling, boys.
It's a gut feeling, right? So he's got Fundora. Let's remember this because Sllk's not above trying to say things that were
You're on the Zoo. Sllk's on who?
So, I got Zoo.
You're on Zoo and you're on Fundora.
Zoo, Fundora. And on the Pitbull fight, Romero, I got Pitbull. Who do you got, Gary?
He's frozen again.
Jesus.
It's because he's in Bulgaria all the time.
Why is it cold out?
Bulgaria.
Is it cold out there?
I don't know. I suppose it. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure their climate. I get the feeling. I have a gut feeling it's cold sometimes. Yeah. But so where's Gary gone now? There's just his
couch. All right. Well, we should continue anyway. I'm sure he knows how to get back in.
We should do. The problem being that we don't know what his pick is. We know that you and I are odds on this particular one. I've got Rolly Romero. You've got Isaac Cruz. Gary can come back to us on that.
And so, what are we going to do? Are we going to watch? Are we going to do a?
We're going to do a watch along, guys. For those of you who are still here, we're going to do a watch along. The most successful live broadcast we've ever done, i.e., episode of the podcast, was the watch along for Joshua Ngannou a few weeks ago, and that we were on for about 3.5 hours. It was a lot of fun. I think we all thought.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of things happened.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that watch along. We will do it. Yeah. So that's going to be Sunday night. So what I would suggest, guys, is we go live at the regular time, 9 p.m. UK time, and the 5 p.m. EST. Do you know what? I think sorry, Sllk. I think the fucking clocks go forward here. That on Sunday, which means it will be. We'll have to make sure we're in the right. It should be 4 p.m. EST again for you on Sunday, right? Because our clocks. Guys, UK residents, help me out. Do the clocks go forward in the UK on Sunday? I think they do, March 31st, which means it will be 4 p.m. for you, not 5 p.m. Sllk. Gary knows what to do anyway. He's the same.
Well, we communicate, Ben, don't we? Like normal human beings. Yeah,
we do exactly. Well, Sllk doesn't. You see, that's so. Sllk will be like, you'll say like, Sllk, I need you to get me an Uzi, a Kalashnikov, and such and such. Can you do it? And then he'll say nothing. Then literally 2 minutes before you're back to the bank, will be like, I've got that stuff you wanted. He just lets it marinate for a while. Yeah. But strange example, I know, but I'm just trying to make a point. Just create a mental picture. Listen, guys. So we're going to do a watch along. I suggest we do it at 9 p.m. UK time. The main event is scheduled for 10:30 p.m. UK time. So we'll do another watch along. So we should be finished before midnight. Is that cool?
Forgive me for missing the. I blacked out again. The technical issue. I've fixed it. I think. What is the watch along? What fight?
We're going to go to Fabio Wardley.
And do we have a pick on that, or are we waiting for that?
We can wait for a second, but what we're going to say is let's get up to speed with your pick on Romero versus Cruz, and then we'll deal with the card in the UK at the O2 Arena on Sunday.
It's bad these two picks I have now, because I really and normally I have time to prep and normally I know the guys, but on these couple of fights I'm not too versed. I would go with, I guess, the favorite.
What? Which no. Sorry, you're talking about. So you're going with
Zoo. You're going with Zoo?
No. We're talking about Pitbull, right?
Oh yeah. You're going with.
I think Pitbull's probably been matched to win. Was that your thought, Ben?
No, I think I fancy Romero, and I think Romero is probably the bigger commercial animal. I think the reason why the betting favourite, certainly with Sky Bet, is Cruz is just based on logistical reasons, the same ones why Michael thinks he's going to win.
Tell me. Forgive my ignorance. Tell me a little bit about Romero.
Romero is a mouthy guy who wears clothes like a pimp and does a lot of talking. His breakout fight was the Tank Davis fight a couple of years ago.
Not Rolly Romero.
Yes, yeah. Rolly Romero.
Cruz.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I know both of them, so that's good.
Great.
I think Rolly Romero's chinny.
Okay.
I think Cruz will knock him out.
His regards to you as well.
He's a big puncher, Romero, but I think he's a bit chinny. I don't think he'll get rid of Cruz, and I think Cruz will catch him at some point and knock him out.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, how do you can you say early, middle, late?
Uh,
Well, he doesn't have to. So
round 6 to 8.
Okay, he says 6 to 8. I say, but then within 3.
okay. So that's what.
And
Yeah. This
and
comes down. Huh?
And Sugar's in the lost column again.
All right. We'll see. We shall see. So moving on to Sunday evening at the O2 Arena in London. The headline on the card is Fabio Wardley versus Fraser Clark. Fraser Clark being the Olympic bronze medalist from the former Olympiad and boxers fighter versus I think Fabio Wardley is hooked up with Matchroom and DAZN and Eddie Hearn's side of things. Wardley is the defending British heavyweight champion. His backstory is interesting to some people because he didn't box amateur. He came from the white collar scene. He was a white collar boxer, and interestingly enough, his trainer Robert Hodgins. I've known him on Facebook for many years, and before Robert got his license, he contacted me and asked me how does one go about getting a professional trainer's license, and it just asked for a bit of advice. Which I was happy to give him, and he went and got his license. And obviously, the fighter he said he'd been training white collar guys, and he had a fighter he thought was good enough to turn over. And it turned out the fighter was Fabio Wardley, who's done tremendously well off that, considering his lack of amateur experience in the last few years. And he's quite a big name. He beat David Adelaide to win the vacant British title in Saudi Arabia on the Fury and Ngannou card. And he's I believe he's a betting favourite as well from memory serves.
How old is he? How old is he?
Fabio Wardley. I can tell you once again.
And how many fights has he had?
Well, I'll tell you that. See, you know what
would be really... He has no amateur fights?
He didn't have amateur fights. No, he boxed on a white collar, like I say.
How many white collar fights do you have?
How the fuck would I know? Seriously.
Yo, aren't you an investigative reporter?
What size feet is he, Ben?
Gary, can I have your support on this one? That was a silly question, right? That was
a silly question. Well, you're talking about this guy like you know him, and then you're
supposed to know a degree of stuff.
You can't tell me his record. You can't tell me his weight division. You can't tell me when he started fighting. I said,
didn't tell you he was a heavyweight. I didn't tell you he was a heavyweight. No, I didn't tell you he was a heavyweight. Did I not?
No, you can't tell me he's any weight. You just said there's this guy fighting in blah. Okay.
I said British heavyweight title. That's what I said.
He's a pretty small heavyweight as heavyweight to go. However, he's a very eloquent, educated man.
He's 29 for the guy who's.
He's a very well-rounded fighter, and I think he's a smart fighter. He's pretty strong in all areas, not really dominant in any areas. He's not the biggest puncher. He's not the biggest heavyweight, but he's pretty solid, which is ironic coming from not a lot of experience. He's very well versed, very rounded. I think he will probably
win. Is he like Dubois?
Huh?
In what way? In what way?
Well, no, he's not as. I don't think. I think Dubois is a bit more vulnerable and a bit more straightforward. Meaning, Dubois for me is a really good fighter, good puncher, but when the game plan changes with Dubois, he gets a little stuck. He's not good at adjusting in fights. He preps a certain way, and if it goes a different way, I think he struggles to adjust.
But Dubois walks at a higher level so far, right? Dubois has competed
at a high level, yeah. Wardley's fought very domestic level, but he's looked competent, and I think he's well-rounded. I think he probably points victory.
How many fights he had?
What are you talking about now? Wardley?
I think he's had about 20, hasn't he?
Wardley, yeah, because Fraser Clark, by the way, the former Olympian, only has 8 fights. Right now, Fabio Wardley has 17 bouts to his name. They're both undefeated.
And he's 17-0, and the guy he's fighting is how many?
8-0.
8-0? And the other guys had amateur
Olympic bronze medalist.
Sorry?
He was an Olympic bronze medalist, Fraser Clark.
The 9-0 kid.
Well, he was 8-0. You've just given him another win. Is that a cryptic tip offer that you're going to bring him?
Okay, so the 8-0 kid has amateur experience, and he's
Well,
fighting
I
this.
thought so. With an Olympic bronze medal, yes, I would think so. Yeah. He didn't win it. He didn't win it for the
why
shot.
isn't Harder over here?
He didn't win it for the shot put. It was definitely in boxing. He got the Olympic bronze medal.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So now we're making.
Based on that information, Sllk, where are you going with this?
Yeah.
I'm going with the kid with the amateur experience.
Me and Sllk are just going on statistics right now. We're not really that versed. I mean,
I've seen this, like this kid that's 19-0 or whatever. I bet you he doesn't know how to hook off a jab. He doesn't know how to, parry and fire. All these little things that these are the things that make up that separate you from the pack. You know what I mean?
You've never seen him, but you're guessing he doesn't know how to hook off a jab, for instance, because you think he can't do because he didn't box amateur.
He's thinking. No, what Sllk's saying is an educated. It's an educated expression based on he knows that at what stage of his career he started to polish things. Like when you're 19 fights, you're just learning the game. Sllk's saying at a certain level, maybe 20, 30 fights, you start polishing the hook off jab, different things. So Sllk's saying a very educated, based on how boxers learn and how they develop. It takes a certain while before they start doing specific things, different things. He's saying that from experience.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, Gary. Your level of comprehension is astounding. Ben, catch up.
Well, I've seen Fabio Wardley box. That's the advantage I've got. So I know if he
I have too, but I understand what Sllk's saying. That it doesn't matter how much, how good you are, a certain amount of time before you get comfortable doing the more intricate parts of the game. He's barely at 18 fights from zero. I don't consider any white collar fight a fight, but I give it just a little bit of experience of going through a motion of getting in a ring, yes, but not really a level that we're talking. So in the big scheme of things, he's just got past the amateur stage of professional boxing, and for him to start advancing into the advanced technical issues, it takes time, it takes experience, and that's what Sllk's saying. With a guy who's had 19 fights from zero, he's not probably doing things instinctually because it takes time.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. 100%. Gary, man, you're a good one.
Listen to this, though. He's never seen either fighter. He's never seen anything of them. And he's like, yeah, exactly, Gary. I mean, we might as well get on to Harry Greb while we're at it. That's another of his favorites.
No, because if you give me certain information about someone that I'm going to fight, and you say, the guy's never had a fight, he's done this, he's done that, like based on what we know through our experience, we know generally what we're getting into.
Yep. If you tell me a guy's 25-0, 25 knockouts, and he's never had an amateur fight, I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? But because there's so much, like, guys with the amateur pedigree and especially international fight pedigree are absolutely every single time so much different than anybody else you're going to fight. Like the guy that came up the hard way. Amateur pedigree is so important in terms of the just knowing the ability of the fighter, because they've taken years from when they were little to hone their skills and ability. And now if they're at the top of the top of the chain, and they're like, I mean, look, Evander Holyfield was 11-0 or something like that before he fought for the world title against one of the best fighters in the game, Dwight Muhammad Qawi, and 15 rounds.
I don't disagree with you in general. I think,
and you know why this is, Ben? You know why this is so fundamental? Because in the amateurs, there's no money. So you're not going to get matched up on a mismatch. They're going to match you fairly.
Gary, you got to remember, I did have 30 amateur fights.
I understand, but let me just explain. Ben,
Gary, just continue to teach.
Ben,
Go ahead.
I'm talking to the audience, not to you.
Yeah,
when you're an amateur, they match you fairly, so your competition level is much higher. As a professional, no matter if you're well managed and you have a little bit of money around you, you can buy 20 wins.
Of course you
When
can.
he says 20-0, the first thing Sllk's going to say is, okay, who's he fought? And if he's fought no one, the record means nothing, right? So
absolutely, we're all agreeing with each other and on the same hymn sheet. If someone tells me you're 20-0 in the amateurs, I say you must be able to fight. You're a bit special. Tell me you're 20-0 in the pros, and I say maybe you can fight, maybe you can't fight a lick. I don't know.
Right, but I'm just saying for the audience who may not know that this is a good point to mention. So obviously, when Sllk says when you've dominated the amateurs, it means you're the top of you're the cream on the crop. So and you've been matched fairly and you've come through it. So it gives you a lot of experience going into the pros.
But let me give you an example. Look, Dylan White or Audley Harrison. Okay, Dylan White, very threadbare amateur career, competed at the top level to a degree, and has been a force of sorts on the scene, the world heavyweight scene. Audley Harrison didn't happen for him. Olympic gold medalist, Commonwealth Games gold medalist. Couldn't adapt to it. So I think the amateurs are crucially important. And Michael's right. Someone like Holyfield could never have beaten a guy like Dwight Muhammad Cowie if he didn't have the amateur pedigree that he had. And Lomachenko is probably the biggest argument ever, for that in recent memory. And I definitely think the amateurs are very important. But we do see Fraser Clark looks like one of those letdowns to me. It hasn't impressed me as a pro. One of those guys, a Tyrell Biggs kind of syndrome, who hasn't made the transition as successfully. That is the way I feel about Fraser Clark. Whereas Fabio Wardley is one of those overachievers who just seems to be suited to the game, works hard, learns well, good instinct. That is a thing.
Listen, there's always an exception to the rule. I would like to see this kid. I mean,
when you say Ben Audrey Harrison, I think the downfall of Audrey Harrison was Audrey Harrison. I think he wasn't I think he was very talented, but didn't commit himself fully to the game and didn't fulfill his potential. I think he had a lot more to offer, and I don't think he probably was the most disciplined or the most focused. I think if Audley Harrison had his career again and he really worked hard and fulfilled his full potential, he would have a much better resume than he has. I think he probably let himself down. I don't think I think he beat himself by not fully committing for whatever reason.
But Fraser Clark reminds me of somebody like that. That's what I'm saying to you. It's something within them, regardless.
So I think work rate and discipline will win that fight for Fabio Wardley, because I think he's more committed to the game, and talent takes you so far, but it doesn't take you all the way unless you use dedication and commitment.
You're picking Wardley?
Yes, because I think it's like you. I think he's very serious about what he does. He'll be well prepared. He's learned slowly, gradually. Of course, he's not.
That's the kid. That's the 15.
Wardley is
a serious guy who takes it really serious. He's so committed to the game, and he's an overachiever, like Ben says. And I think he's growing. He's took time.
Have you seen the other kid fight?
I haven't seen much of him, no. But I know
since it started, it turned over. And I say Fraser Clark has not impressed me since winning an Olympic bronze medal. I saw him at the York Hall go 10 rounds and really not look good against an import, like an Eastern European import, if memory serves. And he blamed the heat. He said it's really hot in here. In response to the fact that he hadn't looked very good. I've liked Wardley from the start. I've got a little bit of bias because I know his coach, and it was him who said to me, "How do I turn pro? Should I turn pro as a trainer?" And I said to him, "Go for it, mate. Go to the board. They'll ask you this, they'll ask you that. Go for it." I'm not trying to big myself up with that, but I did give him a kickstart into his pro training career. He's done really well with Wardley, so I've got a bit of a soft spot for those two. And I just think Wardley, I believe in Wardley more than I believe in Fraser Clark, his mentality.
Well, you know what? I have to, personally, I can't make a choice. Obviously, I've never seen either one of them. If I were to go with my instincts, I'd go with the kid with the better amateur background.
Well, that's what you're going to have to do, because I went out on a limb on the Suzuki fight.
But what I will do, I will do some research. Maybe I'll get
we're not doing any more picks. Not off the show.
It's going to be in this show. It's going to be in this. I committed in this show to the 6'6" guy.
I'll give you some advice, right? Trust your instincts, because you know what's going to fucking happen, don't you? I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Okay.
He's going to be right. Wardley's going to win. Sorry, Wardley's going to lose. Fraser Clark's going to win, and Sllk's going to look like a genius again, even though he didn't really know who he was talking about. That's what I can feel it coming because he leads a charmed life.
Well, I've just gone out on a limb on the big guy. I looked at the weigh-in; he was so tall. I thought, you know what, he's going to be very tricky, this guy, and he's going to be awkward. And I just fancied that. It might work this time on this fight because I'm not sure. I mean, Tszyu's a very good fighter. He's very all action, but he's not the smartest. Or he's not one of these fighters who gets in and breaks you down and works you out. He's an all action guy, but I'm not sure how well he will adjust. He's not like a guy who can adjust like Mayweather works you out in 2-3 rounds, gets your number, and then just beat you up.
Yeah,
not that. Tszyu is pretty basic, great action, a lot of exciting, but I don't think he's a very versed, smart, knows how to work you out. So I think if this kid's awkward, he'll remain awkward for the fight, and it could be the losing reason that Tszyu loses, that he can adapt to this different style. I fought a guy once extremely tall. He was very, very difficult. I worked it out, but it was really difficult.
Tall enough yourself, so that must have been some guy.
Yeah, he was very, very tall.
Yeah, because you were a tall light middleweight, Gary, for sure.
Yeah.
I thought he had dandruff. He had snow on his head.
Yeah, but all right, guys. So listen, just to recap, then, because honestly, what my gut feeling is. I'm picking Wardley based on boxing logic, but my gut feeling is Sllk's going to get lucky with this one. I can feel it in my bones, this one. But and then he's going to be like, "I told you, amateur."
No. What you're trying to do? You're trying to like kind of cajole me into confirming. He's trying to cajole me into confirming. When I haven't had a chance to look at these guys yet.
No, he's trying to diminish your educated.
Yeah, that too.
Take.
Well, you won't be able to do that.
Well, let's just be clear. We're going to go on this one. Sllk's going to go with his knowledge of the amateur game.
He's going to see the fight on Sunday night because we're going to do a watch along. So at least we'll know he's seen one of their fights.
Well, I haven't seen Fundora at all. So we're just looking at the size.
We're not doing a watch along of that. We're doing a watch along for Wardley.
No, I know that, but I'm saying he can't pick it as it goes along. He's got to pick it now.
No, yeah, I'm saying the fight's not until Sunday. Why can't I just at least have an evening to look at it?
That one before.
Well, I could pick my fight. I could do the same. I could be
on the show or not at all. Let's do. I will give you guys. I'll hold your hand through this process, and I will give you the information earlier in the week if you're going to do some homework.
No. So we don't need that. But on this one, Sllk, let me and you go on a educated history. You're going on the better amateur pedigree, and I'm going on the taller fighter, and we both know that we're extremely it's not really fair for us, but we'll do it to satisfy Ben on this one. We'll give him one.
Yeah, Ben, you have how many 7 losses?
I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember. I need to look. I've got it here. I've got the scoreboard.
He's punchy.
He's definitely a journeyman predictor.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a journeyman because I've got a winning record and I've had more fights than you.
No, predictor.
I know. I'm saying I've got a winning record. I'm not losing.
What's your record, Ben? His predictions.
I'll tell you, but I've definitely got more wins than losses. I'll tell you that now.
What's your record now, Ben? And give me my record immediately.
He's not much.
Ready? You and me. So I've got 11 wins. No, so you've got 11-4, Gary. You were leading with 11-4.
What are you?
Huh? Wait a second. Sllk has 10-4, right?
Yeah.
I have 11-7, so I got the same.
Okay.
What are you? 7 and what?
No, I'm not 7 and anything.
He's 7-11. You know, in the store.
Yeah. What are you? You're 7 and what?
He's 11 wins, 7 losses.
Oh my God! Really?
And you are 10 wins and 4 losses. It's only because I've done more predictions than you guys. That's part of the thing as well.
And I'm 11 and 4.
You, Sllk.
Okay, so you guys are gonna force me into this, okay?
Yeah, because I'm forced into it. We'll give him one.
Yeah,
possibly.
but you've seen the guys before. I haven't even seen.
I haven't seen Fedora before ever.
Raymond Hales doesn't think much of Wardley, by the way. He doesn't share mine and Gary's optimism about Wardley. So he's already on the Sllk side of the equation.
All right,
Well,
Raymond. So what do you think? Should I take this?
My answer to Ray is that I think that when I look at Wardley and I see how seriously he takes the game, and I've watched a little bit of him, he's pretty solid in all dimensions. He's pretty good boxer. He's pretty good defense. He has compatible power. Not a huge puncher, but he can hurt you. And I think he's quite technically proficient. So I've just got an educated, basic, solid pros, committed. And I'm also going on a little bit of Ben's information when Ben says that the other fellas doesn't take it as serious as he should. And I just think that hard work and dedication.
Fraser Clark is 32, by the way. Olympic bronze medalist with 8 pro fights to his name. He hasn't looked particularly impressive thus far. Doesn't mean he can't bloom at this point. Now he's getting to the title level. But and to me, he never looks in the greatest of shape either. Whereas Wardley always looks conditioned well.
Yeah, so I'm going to go on the safer bet of the solid, committed professional.
Yeah, you know what? Raymond Hales is definitely Team Sllk. He's Team Olajide Jr. all the way. Because he's saying, I just think that, amateur background counts for something. Wardley can get a little wild. So, that Jonathan O'Halloran really wants to get us started, by the way.
Okay, let's do that one because that's a good question. My pick on Tyson.
Hang on. Can we just wrap it up about Sllk and the fucking Clark fight?
Yeah, he's going on.
Is he?
He's going on the Clark.
If you guys are forcing me to take that pick, I mean, I'm
forced on the Fedora fight, but I took it.
So let's recap. We have Zoo, Fundora, Romero, Cruz, and we have Wardley, Clark, Wardley. Yes?
Yes, correct.
So that's it. That's written in stone, so no one can start saying anything else on Sunday night.
Yeah. You're forcing the man to take
my prediction for Jonathan is Tyson Fury wins a very dominant fight, probably stops Usyk, and it'd be a surprise. It will not be a close encounter like everybody thinks. I think it will be a demolition job. And that sounds crazy because I know how technically good Usyk is. I know how defensively good he is. But I just got a feeling that Tyson Fury is going to come in the best shape of his life. He's going to bully him. He's going to outmove him. He's going to just be too much of everything for him.
I'm telling you that Fury is going to lose this fight, and he may get stopped in the 11th round. Usyk is going to be on point for this fight more than he ever has. He has the confidence, he has the strength, he has the intelligence. I think he's going to pick him apart. I think he's going to let his hands go. I think he has the agility, the dexterity, you know what I mean, to do everything that he needs to do. Tyson Fury is the perfect foil for his style. Perfect. Even more so than Joshua, because he's not going to go for all these little inflections, these feints, and all this thing that Tyson Fury's always doing. Usyk sees past that. He's not going to get caught up in all that. He's just every time this man goes in to make a move, I mean, his only chance that he has is to suffocate him, like do the octopus thing, like he did to Klitschko. Like if he's laying all on him and get him tired, all that kind of stuff. But if he fights him at a distance, there's no way Tyson Fury's going to beat him.
I'll give you a bit of inside information. I was with Freddie Roach a few years ago, and I was talking about Tyson Fury, and Freddie said, Gary, I'm going to tell you something. He's so much better than you know. He said he came in the gym one day, went through everyone, every heavy. He said he just went through, like, he said he's so much better than you think. I said, really, he's that good? He went, better. So that was coming from Freddie, and he also said the same exact thing to me. He said to me, Terence Crawford told me this 5 years ago. He said, Terence Crawford, another level. He said, I would never put Manny in with him. Manny wants to fight him. I will never put Manny Pacquiao. He'll hurt Manny. And he told me that 5-6 years ago, and it's come true. So I'm going on Fury 100% against Usyk. Sllk is absolutely the opposite. He's 100% on Usyk. And Ben?
I fancy Fury. I'm a little tentative on it right now. I'd have been more confident last year, but now I wonder where Fury.
Don't worry about the Sllk Ngannou fight, Ben. Go on your education in the game.
My education.
Tell me why.
Actually, go on your hunch.
Tell the audience why. Tell the audience why, Ben. Forgetting Ngannou, forgetting one silly night. We've all had bad nights. On a good day for both, why do you think Fury beats Usyk?
I think he beats Usyk because of his size, because of his ring generalship, because of his movement, his relative speed.
Wait. But let's analyze this. You said because of his size. What's his size going to? That's more target.
You know that you think it's irrelevant. I don't think it's irrelevant. Most of the Western.
Okay, but I'm saying you're saying his size, but I'm saying so he has more target. He has more surface area to hit.
That's why you're picking Usyk, but that's up to you.
That's not why I'm picking Usyk. That's not at all why I'm picking Usyk. I think he outskills Fury. I think he has.
Well, I don't think he does because as well as being significantly bigger, Fury is coordinated and quick for his size. I think on his day, I also think Fury is capable of rising to the occasion, particularly when people are starting to write him off. And I think I look at
that you're referring obviously to his knockdown against Wilder, but that has nothing to do with it. They're absolutely different animals.
I wasn't.
Let me ask you this, Sllk. Derek Chisora, who respectfully, great fighter, great person, but average, not great fighter, a good fighter, good professional, fight anyone. Always all action. We all love him. However, at the elite level, no. Always comes short. Derek Chisora arguably beat Usyk. He was so close. If Usyk
he didn't beat him, Gary. He definitely lost that fight, Chisora.
No, but it was a very bad fight for Usyk.
People make out that Chisora
gave
him.
Usyk was so uncomfortable. He looked very average. Most
2 rounds he looked uncomfortable. He figured him out. The people overrate the Chisora effort in there. That wasn't.
No, I don't overrate it. I just saw that was not. We're looking at an elite fighter deal with Derek Chisora the way he should have been dealt with. He struggled a great deal with him. He was uncomfortable at times. He got bullied around. He didn't have the elite. He didn't show the different level.
That's not right.
He slowly worked him out, Ben, and he beat him just, but it was not a great performance. On the Daniel Dubois, again, extremely uncomfortable for a lot of the fight. Turned it around in the end, yes, after doing an Oscar-winning acting job about getting hit in the balls. I don't believe Usyk is as good as everyone thinks he is. They all think he's amazing because he beat Joshua. I think he beat a mentally weak Joshua. I think Joshua in the right frame of mind, with the right prep, with the right trainers. I think he beat Joshua at a certain time. I think Joshua would probably beat him now, honestly. I think if he had Ben Davidson, I think he would. I think he's on a upward spiral, Joshua. I think Usyk, great cruiserweight, but I don't believe it's going to cross over into heavyweight. And I think
it already has crossed over.
You've got to give him his props at heavyweight. What he's done up to now.
No, I give him. He's done okay. He's gone good.
I rate Usyk a lot, and it's not that I'm not knocking Usyk. I just think Fury beats him.
I rate him, but not at heavyweight.
Yeah.
His biggest wins were at heavyweight.
Only Anthony Joshua.
His most famous wins, yeah. But
who else has he beat other than Anthony Joshua at heavyweight?
Nobody.
Tell him, Ben.
Chisora.
Nobody.
What do you mean nobody? Tell him, Ben.
And a very, very raw Daniel Dubois, who blows hot and cold, and he's not the most sophisticated fighter in the world. So it's not premier level. The only person he's beat is Joshua. And the second fight, he had a harder time than the first. And both were competitive.
And do you think Fury would have beaten Joshua? Which I don't think so.
Yes, absolutely, and that's why I'm much more confident about that one. I will have
that all day. Career, he would have beaten him.
I will have that. No way, Joshua Fury.
There's no way he would have beat Joshua. There's no way.
I don't
He's too
understand why you're
simple
that
for him.
confident. I don't get what planet you're on when you come out with that. I don't understand why you're so confident.
I don't understand what you guys see in Fury that isn't so like that. Anything but good basics can't defeat. There's nothing that he does that good basics cannot defeat. I'm telling you that right now. He did like the guys that he fights. Sure, he had great fights with Wilder. You can mix the fact that he had a great fight with Wilder and think that like constitutes an excellent fighter or a knowledgeable, experienced, intelligent, great fighter. Beating Wilder is not.
Fury has never lost, regardless of any kind of controversies or whatever. And Joshua has been beat twice by Usyk fair and square, and beat out of sight the first time, and battered by Andy Ruiz the first time. It hasn't happened to Fury. I do not think Joshua beats Fury ever. Unless
Okay,
Fury...
he made a mistake he definitely made a mistake against the kid, but
Fury's made mistakes and come on and won. And that is because he is a winner.
That's the difference. You're right, Ben.
Yeah. So I pick Fury based on solid reasoning, but at the same time, I don't mind if Usyk wins. I would quite like him to win. I don't like the narrative, like the Montel Griffin school of thought, that Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight there's ever been or would have beaten any of his predecessors. I hate that logic and I don't believe it. So, Sllk, if you're right and Usyk spoils the party, I'm glad about that. I will not be churlish about it, and I'll give you and him full props. So, and I'll be happy.
I think.
I'm looking forward to that day.
I think Fury's better than he looks. And I think
I agree with Gary on that. I think he is better than he looks. He looks,
Can you please tell me? Someone please tell me what he does that is so great. Or
let me ask you. He beat Klitschko when no one could. He beat Wilder when no one could. You've got to understand. It's like and then with Chisora, who gives everybody a war, he just beat him up and knocked him out. Like just
that was his boy, right? He was given.
He just showed the levels where everyone else has tough fights, which is all. He just showed it was giving him a payday, and he just schooled him, and he could have done a lot bigger job if he wanted. He was his mate, so he let him off the hook. But even in letting him off the hook, he just was so dominant. When you see what Fury did to Chisora, and you see what Chisora and Usyk had a very much more competitive fight, shows there's just a complete different level. If you're going to look at one shared opponent, and that is Derek Chisora, look at Usyk's fight with Chisora and look at Fury's fight with Chisora.
He had 3 fights with Chisora. 3.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm just saying when you look at the difference in the 2 fights, there's no comparison, and that's at heavyweight. I'm not at cruiserweight. I think Usyk's a very dominant force, but I don't think it's crossed over to heavyweight.
Well, listen, you know what? It's May the 18th, assuming it doesn't fall out again. When the media accreditation applications come around, I'm going to apply for a media accreditation to that show in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, on our behalf. Can you imagine how epic it would be if we're all out there arguing? I'm going live all the time, and I'm doing interviews with all the protagonists and stuff, and arguing the whole time, the 3 of us, all jostling for position and primacy. That's going to be one epic trip if it comes together, boys.
Yes,
that is going to be epic.
But I don't know, Sllk, if you wanted to touch quickly before we turn off on the running thing. Do you want to talk about it quickly before we sign out?
I mean, there isn't a lot to discuss with the fact. Well, Gary doesn't know what the controversy was, right? What the was.
Basically,
quickly.
Earlier today, Michael proposed on Facebook that running and boxing do not correlate at all, and that 99% of fighters who run anyway, they don't run in the right way to make a physiological difference. He said, if you're trying to make weight and it's part of your weight-making regime, fine. He said, but beyond that, he fails to see how running, traditional road work, enhances boxing, and that there are many better ways to get in shape, or to not get in shape, but to prepare for a
fight. Get your cardiovascular, your muscular endurance, your anaerobic capacities, all the rest of that kind of stuff. There are better ways to get in shape than running, because running and the correlation between running and boxing are just not there. I don't care what anyone says. You use in running, you use your legs primarily. In boxing, you use your arms primarily. If you're saying that running helps boxing, then you're telling me that boxing helps running?
No, I tell you this. I disagree on one point, and I do love you and respect your opinion, Sllk. I think you talk a lot of sense most of the time. But when you say in boxing you use arms and running you use legs, no, in boxing it's all legs. Defense is legs.
I agree. I think he thinks it's all about the core. He thinks it's all about.
No. But legs is one of the biggest thing in the and wind is the biggest thing. If it's like a Ferrari, you run out of gas.
Wind is your cardiovascular endurance.
Cardiovascular, and I think running is now. Were we a cavemen in the past with running? Today's technology with the correct shoes and the correct, to stop shin splints and all of the things and stress on your knees. I think for me, running was a very important thing for my wind. Of course, you can go swimming, you can do other things. I'll tell you something else. If you guys go on a running machine in a gym, it's so much easier than running in the street.
Sure, the ground doesn't move for you in the street.
Yeah, and so it's like people running the gym. For me, it's a waste of time. You go running the gym half an hour, you feel great. Go do half an hour on the road, it's another level. I think it's a little old-fashioned, but I think running for me was very important for me personally. Got me my base wind, got me my basic condition. I think the legs are much more involved in boxing than you're saying, Sllk. And
footwork anyway. Sllk was a good mover.
Yeah, Sllk of all people had great footwork, but yeah. I think that for me, running was a major thing I needed. I used to go on the road 2-3 weeks before I even got in the gym, and I would get myself, get my breathing good, and it would transfer to my training when I started boxing. Obviously. Everyone's got their opinion, but for me, it was a fundamental necessity. And if I boxed again in these modern days with more technology, more science, I would still definitely use the road as one of my tools.
But do you think that that it's more or less like it's become a custom of fighters to run? We saw Rocky do it, and the movie Rocky, and he runs up the stairs and does the gonna fly now thing. And then you also have, obviously the old time greats, Archie Moores and and Muhammad Ali's and Rocky Marciano's, and you see them trudging away doing their road work and stuff like that. And what I'm saying is the two don't correlate. Like when you get in the ring, you do not use your legs like you do when you're running. So are you telling me it strengthens your legs?
No, it does, but also it's your lung capacity and your wind.
Okay, so your lung capacity. So
another thing is there's the stages. There's when early stages of training, long, steady, slow runs to get condition, and then as you get closer to the fight, sprints for explosiveness. And I do believe that your legs are the core essence of your game in the boxing. I think everything starts with the feet. My defense was always with my feet, not with my hands. So legs have got to be strong. They've got to be.
But Gary, when you're affected by fatigue also affects your mind, right?
Yes, but wind, lungs, breathing, and I think running is a big factor in getting your breathing and your lung capacity. I don't know another exercise.
Yes. Okay, well, the Cooper Institute in over here in the States in Texas. The Cooper Institute, which does all those measurements in sports performance and what have you, say you have to run for 30 minutes to equal the benefits of a 10-minute jump rope program. You have to run at that, I think it's a 5.6 or 6.5 mile an hour pace in order to equal the benefits of a 10-minute jump rope program. It's like
I don't.
Running does not touch the benefits, for instance, of the jump rope program. And if people understood how to do that, they would improve their performance so much more. The running will do this. Running will help you mentally. Yes, psychologically, I think it's one of the best things you can do because you're working just on autopilot, and you don't have to think about you don't have to think about anything other than. You don't have to execute anything. It's just that consistent running, that consistent endurance. But when you're doing something like jump rope or a different type of conditioning in order to get in shape for a fight, that's different. If you were going to get in shape, if you needed to lose weight for a fight, then running, yes, absolutely so.
You know what? So
how is it helping you box better? That's what I'm saying. How is running helping you box better?
Well, I disagree again. I do believe it helped me with my wind. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. Maybe I've not tried the new techniques. But
so just your wind is what you're saying. Only your wind it helps.
Give me the wind. No, it give me strength in my legs as well. But I also believe that it gave me great clarity. Like you say, I used to go out with a million things on my mind, and I'd do a run, and I'd come back, and I'd be kind of clear, get all the thoughts out of my head. So for me, on a mental thing, it was very good. Yeah. I'm sure you're more versed because I know you do train people. I'm sure you could give me better ways to get wind. But for me, maybe I'm set in my ways. Because I came from the old school running. For me, it was something that I think I would have continued to do if I went back to boxing, because for me, it had other aspects of the mental clarity. But I do believe in my heart of hearts, it give me good endurance and good wind. And I do believe.
If I were your trainer, Gary, I would say, look, that's out. Here's what we're going to do. Because you know what? There are two things here. There's cardio you can get via your lower body, and there's cardio you can get via your upper body. And you being a fighter, your upper body, your arms, that's the most important thing in this thing. Like once your arms fatigue, it's over for you. The legs, I'm always looking for the correct words to explain these things, and I don't know them because I'm not a physiologist and all the rest of that. But just through the experience of it, like I believe all your energy does come through your core, as Ben was saying that I do. It does come from your core, but the upper body cardio. Like they have a UBE machine now, and they've had it for a while now. The sitting and you row with your arms like this. This is much better for you in terms of upper body conditioning, because these are the muscles you're going to use. You have to extend and retract. You know what's funny? I never ever do upper body cardio. Runners do lower body cardio. The two do not, like, they don't.
I understand, but I never ever in my whole career remember having an issue with my arms. I never felt my arms were heavy. I never had an issue with my arms. Mm-hmm. The only time I got tired was, when you wind. Sometimes legs could be a bit heavy sometimes, depending on, like, you go to these dodgy fights and the ring's this thick because they slow you down, and then you get heavy legs, and you'd be fighting short punches, so they put you in a little ring with a thick carpet, and you slow you right down. But I never noticed my arms ever have any weight of a problem. I did.
So you've never had that time where you're like you've gone anaerobic to the point where it's like you're just all you can think about, like your eyes are practically popping out your head. You don't know if you're gonna like live through the round. You've never had that you've never been taken to that threshold.
Not with my arms, with my wind.
But is that because, do you think you were tired because you were moving, or do you think you were tired because you were punching?
I don't know. So to be honest, I don't know.
So that's a very important part of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you get tired punching, running isn't going to help you.
Maybe I don't know.
If you get tired moving, your legs are going to help you. And most guys don't get tired moving; they get tired punching.
That is a thing, right? That's a term, arm weary. That's quite a common term in boxing.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't know. I never differentiate. I never actually took the time to think what was making me exhausted, to be honest. So maybe you're right. I don't know.
Jordan McGowan says, understand the principle, Michael. Running doesn't mirror body mechanics of fighting. My son is doing MMA, wasn't running. He tired badly his first fight. He's now running, sprinting, and is so much fitter.
Yeah. I can obviously I can agree with that, but sometimes it's the fact that you're disciplining yourself and you're being healthy. Like first of all, there's absolutely no way that running with your legs are going to condition your arms. That's just has to be. I mean, that's understandable.
How are you running your arms? So
no, I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like if you're running with your legs, it's not going to strengthen your arms. It's not going to strengthen anything up in your chest area. Anything.
Well, that's why you do other stuff like press
The
ups.
capacity to
But
move.
I never needed strong arms. For me, the arms were just the postman. They delivered the mail. The power comes from your hips, from your waist, from your body's transformation of weight. The arm to me was just the postman who delivered the mail. You know, I never used my arms
part, right?
Huh?
But that's the most important part. You want to receive the mail. You want to get the package. Like that's what he's doing it for. I'm not explaining it in the best way I can. I write it out a lot better than I can talk about it. But what I'm saying is, when you're getting fighters, and you know this, Gary, when you're getting somebody ready for a fight, you want them, for them to be the most successful, you have to train them as close to the actual fight as possible, how the fight can go, like the demands that are going to be made of the body in the fight. For instance, let's just say you're fighting somebody and you have to, throw combinations and you have to move your head and all those. You have to slip and counter. There's certain things you have to do that you just drill over and over and over again. This is what you should do as a trainer. You're drilling that guy incessantly over and over again, so it just becomes instinct in the ring. When you're running, that doesn't emulate any process of the fight. And I'm saying there's other drills you can do instead of running that will help you actually win the fight. Like jumping rope is one of the greatest things you can do, because yes, you use your legs, but it's still upper body cardio. The hands dictate the pace in which you move, right? The hands dictate the pace and the speed and the agility, the dexterity, all the rest of that. Running is yes, you're moving your weight, the weight of your body through space and time. Sorry, go ahead.
Joe Calzaghe never skipped. Did loads of running in the hills in Welsh rallies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's good. And
I think for me, I love running, and I think it was good for my lungs and my wind. I did other things to counter the thing, like I did a lot of sparring, heavy bag. I skipped a lot, so I got some of the stuff that you're saying I needed to do. But for me, it was an important thing, and I would stick with it. If I was training a fighter, I would have him run.
Okay, Gary. So if you're training for a fight, and I had you,
I would have him do the.
I had you running,
but I would have running as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be impossible to take a fight based on, like, you could have all the knowledge and technical ability in the world, but you're running, training for a fight, and you're not using your upper body. You're not, like, the fact that you hit the bag and the fact that you sparred, that's what got you in shape. Yeah, the running helped you mentally and probably helped you get your weight down if you want to lose weight. Yeah, because you have to move a whole 156, 160 pounds through space and time. I understand that. That's different. But the mechanics of boxing and running are not even remotely similar, and they don't affect each other with the exception of the mental. And
also the lung capacity with running gives you a certain amount of condition.
But yes, but lung conditioning.
You're saying you can,
but it goes to the muscle before it goes to the lungs. So your muscles are going to fatigue before your lungs are going to fatigue.
I understand. So you're saying there's better ways to get the lungs working than running for boxing.
Yes, absolutely.
I will give you that, but I still would, if I trained a fighter, I still have him run for me. I think
and I would have him run, like, sometimes it's the matter of the purpose, right? What the purpose is. So I would have him run to, like, yes, you have to get down to 146 pounds. So yeah, go ahead and run, because you could burn out just doing too much boxing all the time. So you need some variety, some variation, right? But ultimately, when it comes down to it, there are just so many things that we can do with our fighters that would make them better, that would enhance their skills, and not get slipping punches, like drills. Slipping punches will work your legs better than running will. If you're talking about wind, and if you're talking about wind, then jump rope is going to help you far more, because it's going to help you. You have to coordinate your feet with your hands as you do in boxing. So
Point well taken, but I'm still going to run. I still believe.
I'm going to go for a run as soon as we finish this broadcast.
Okay, well, let's wind it up then, because it's been
a while. 100.
Yeah, we're going over time.
1 hour 23 minutes right now. Okay, so guys.
So yeah, a lot of people asked questions, and I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to them.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and I'm sorry to Ray. I think it was Ray.
Thanks, Jonathan.
I think it's Ray as well who asked us about to explain the Fury and Ngannou fight, but we're not going to have time for that this time.
Oh no!
Maybe
on Sunday we can do it.
Yeah, maybe we can, because we're going to have a lot of time hanging around while we watch the fights. Cheers, Julian. Thanks, mate. Okay, so guys, thanks for tuning in.
All the best, brother.
You have witnessed another episode of Sllk Stretch in all its glory, mayhem, chaos, and all the rest of it. Please like, and the videos. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. We're going to keep pushing this thing. It's nice to see the engagement on here. One last comment I'm going to take. I'm not going to say we're going to respond to it, but from Coach Martin Gooden, Nutrition High Performance, says, so if a fighter needs to cut weight, sometimes it's not the long run, but the intensity of the run. Great debate. Yeah. Thanks. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, that's good. Great point.
Thank you, Ray, as well. Thanks all. Listen, just stay on board with us. We're going to keep coming. Join us for the watch along on Sunday night, starting at 9 p.m. UK time. I think it's going to be 4 p.m. EST because the clocks go forward tonight, I believe. So if I'm wrong,
I don't think you're wrong at all. And Ray's really good. We got to have him back on the show more.
I'm actually not convinced he's not a member of your family just with a food.
He's a highly intelligent.
I think Sllk's actually doing the computer work. He's Ray.
Something's gone on tonight. He's far too similar. Have you ever seen Raymond Hales and Sllk Stretch in the same room together? I haven't. Okay, guys, is that a wrap?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Bye. Thanks, y'all.
Cheers, guys. Peace out.
Cheers.